bit from um, because it is um, saturated and dripping with transcendental nectar that heals and restores, strengthens and nourishes the soul. This is spoken by Lord Brahma in glorification of Sri Krishna. Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchirananda Vigraha Anadir Adar Govinda Sarvakarana Karanam. Krishna, who is known as Govinda, is the supreme Godhead. He has an eternal, blissful spiritual body. He is the origin of all. He has no other origin, and he is the prime cause of all causes. Sahasrapatra Kamalam Gokulakyam Mahatpadam Tatkarnikaram Tadhama Tadadam Tam Shasambhavam. The spiritual place of transcendental pastimes of Krishna is portrayed in the second verse. The super excellent station of Krishna, which is known as Gokula, has thousands of petals and a corolla like that of a lotus sprouted from a part of his infinitary aspect, the whirl of the leaves being the actual abode of Krishna. Karnikaram Mahadyantram Shattonam Vajrakilakam Sharanga Shatpati Stanam Prakritya Purushena Cha Premananda Mahananda Rasini Vastitam Hiyat Jyoti Rupena Manuna Kama Bijena Sangatam. The whirl of that transcendental lotus is the realm wherein dwells Krishna. It is a hexagonal figure, the abode of the indwelling, predominated, and predominating aspect of the Absolute. Like a diamond, the central supporting figure of self-luminous Krishna stands as the transcendental source of all potencies. The holy name, consisting of 18 transcendental letters, is manifested in a hexagonal figure with sixfold divisions. Tat kinjalkam tat amshanam tat patrani shriyam api. The whirl of that eternal realm, Gokula, is the hexagonal abode of Krishna. Its petals are the abodes of gopis, who are part and parcel of Krishna, to whom they are most lovingly devoted and are similar in essence. The petals shine beautifully like so many walls. The extended leaves of that lotus are the garden-like Dhamma, spiritual abode of Sri Radhika, the most beloved of Krishna. Chaturashram tad parita shveta dvipakyamad Chatur ashram chatur mortesh chatur dhamma chatushkritam chatuvi purusharchaishcha chatubir hetubir vritam Shular dashabir adandam ordvadvodvig vidvikshvapi Ashtabir niribir jushtam ashtabi sirhibistata manu rupashchit dashabir dikbalai parito vritam shamar gurashcha rakchaishcha shuklaishcha parshitarsha bahai shobitam shakti vistabir adibhutabis samatataha. The surrounding external plane of Gokula is described in this verse. There is a mysterious quadrangular place named Shvetadvipa, surrounded by the outskirts of Gokula. Shvetadvipa is divided into 4 parts on all sides. The abode of Vasudeva, Shankarshan, Pradyumna, and Aniruddha are separately located in each of these 4 parts. These four divided abodes are enveloped by the fourfold human requirements such as piety, wealth, passion, and liberation, and also by the four Vedas, Rig, Sama, Yajur, Atharva, which deal with the mantra and which are the bases of achievements of the fourfold mundane requirements. 10 tridents are fixed in the 10 directions, including the zenith and nadir. The 8 directions are decorated with the 8 jewels of Mahapadam, Padma, Shankha, Makara, Kachapa, Mukunda, Kunda, and Nila. There are 10 protectors, Dikpalas, of the 10 directions in the form of mantra, the associates of the hues of blue, yellow, red, and white, and the extraordinary potencies bearing the names Vimala, etc., shine on all sides. Evam Jyotir Mayo Deva Sad Ananda Parat Paraha Atmaram Tasyastyasti Prakritya Na Samagamaha. The Lord of Gokula is the supreme Godhead, self, eternal ecstasy. He is the superior of all superiors and is busily engaged in the enjoyments of the transcendental realm and has no association with his mundane potency. Mayaya Ramamanasya Naviyogas Tataya Saha Amanta Ramaya Reme Tyakta Kalam Sisrikshaya. Krishna never consorts with his illusory energy. Still, her connection is not entirely cut off from the absolute truth. When he intends to create the material world, the amorous pastime in which he engages by consorting with his own spiritual or chit potency, Rama, by casting his glance at the deluding energy in the shape of sending his time energy in an auxiliary activity. Niyati sa Rama Devi Tatpriyatad Vasham Tada Dal Lingam Bhagavan Shambur Jyoti Rupa Sanatanaha Yayoni Sapara Shakti Kamo Bijam Mahadarahe. The secondary process of association with Maya is described. Maya Devi, the spiritual or chit potency, beloved consort of the Supreme Lord, is the regulatrix of all entities, the divine world. At the creation, there appears a divine halo of the nature of his own subjective portion, Svamsha. This halo is divine Shambhu, the masculine symbol or manifested emblem of the Supreme Lord. This halo is the dim twilight reflection of the supreme eternal effulgence. This masculine symbol is the subjective portion of divinity, who functions as progenitor of the mundane world, subject to the supreme regulatrix Niyati. The conceiving potency in regard to mundane creation makes her appearance out of the supreme regulatrix. She is Maya, the limited, non-absolute apara potency, the symbol of mundane feminine productivity. The intercourse of these two brings forth the faculty of perverted cognition, the reflection of the seed of the procreative desire of the Supreme Lord. Linga Yonyatmika Jata Ima Maheshwari Prajaha. All offspring of the consort of the great Lord Maheshwara of this mundane world are of the nature of the embodiment of the mundane masculine and feminine generative organs. Shaktiman Purusha Yomam Linga Rupi Maheshwaraha Tasmin Avirbhulinge Mahavishnu Jagatpatihi. The person embodying the material causal principle, the great lord of this mundane world, Maheshwara, Shambhu, in the form of the male generating organ, is joined to his female consort, limited energy, Maya, as the efficient causal principle. The Lord of the world, Mahavishnu, is manifest in him by his subjective portion in the form of his glance. Sahasrashirsha Purusha, Sahasraksha, Sahasrapat, Sahasrabhar, Vishvatma, Sahasramsha, Sahasrasuhu. The Lord of the mundane world, Mahavishnu, possesses thousands of heads, eyes, hands. He is the source of thousands of avatars in his thousands of subjective portions. He is the creator of thousands of individual souls. Narayanasa Bhagavan Appastas Matsanattanat Avirasit Karat Narno Nidhi Sankarshanatmakaha Yoga Nidram Gatastasmin Sahasram Shap Swayam Mahan. The same Mahavishnu is spoken of by the name Narayana in this mundane world. From that eternal person has sprung the vast expanse of water of the spiritual causal ocean, the subjective portion of Shankarshan, who abides in Paravyoma, the above supreme Purusha with thousands of subjective portions, reposes in the state of divine sleep, Yoga Nidra, in the waters of the spiritual causal ocean. Tadromabila jaleshu bijam sankarshanasya cha haiman yantani jatani mahabhuta vritani tu. The spiritual seeds of Sankarshan existing in the pores of skin of Mahavishnu are born as so many golden sperms. These sperms are covered with 5 great elements. Pratyanandam evam Pratyandam evam ekam shad vishati svayam sahasra mordha vishvatma mahavishnu sanatanaha. The same Mahavishnu entered into each universe as his own separate subjective portions. The divine portions that entered into each universe are possessed of his majestic extension. They are the eternal universal soul, Mahavishnu, possessing thousands of heads. Mamangad Ashrijad Vishnum Dakshinangat Prajapatim Jyotirlinga Mayam Shambhum Purcha Deshad Avasrajat. The same Mahavishnu created Vishnu from his left limb, Brahma, the first progenitor of beings, from his right limb, and from the space between his 2 eyebrows, Shambhu, the divine masculine, manifested halo. Ahankaratmakam Vishvam Tasmad Etad Vyajayata. The function of Shambhu in relation to jivas is that of this universe enshrining the mundane egotistic principle, has originated from Shambhu. Ata taistri vidhar veshar leelam udvahata kila yoga nidra bhagavati tatsya shrir eva sangata. Thereupon, the same great personal Godhead, assuming the threefold forms of Vishnu, Prajapati, Shambhu, entering into the mundane universe, plays the pastimes of preservation, creation, and destruction of this world. This pastime is contained in the mundane world, hence it is being perverted. The Supreme Lord, identical with Mahavishnu, prefers to consort with the goddess Yoganidra, the constituent of his own spiritual or chit potency, full of the ecstatic trance of eternal bliss appertaining to his own divine personality. Sisrikshayam tato nabesh tasya padmam viniryayo tan nalam hema nilinam brahmano lokam adbhutam. When Vishnu, lying in the ocean of milk, wills to create this universe, a golden lotus springs from his navel. The golden lotus representing Brahmaloka or Satyaloka. Tattvani purva rudrani karanani parasparam samvayaya prayogachcha viminani viprik pritak chichakya sajabanota bhagavanari purushaha yojayan mayaya devo yoga nidram akalpayat. Before their conglomeration, the material elements in their nascent state remained originally separate entities. Non-application of the conglomerating process is the cause of their separate existence. Divine Mahavishnu, primal Godhead, through association with his own spiritual chit potency, moved Maya, and by the application of the conglomerating principle, created those different entities in their state of cooperation. And after that, he himself consorted with Yoganidra by way of his eternal dalliance with his spiritual or chit potency. Yojayatva tutanyeva pravishesha svayam guham pravishte tasminstu jivatma pratibudhyate. By conglomerating all those separate entities, he manifested the innumerable mundane universes and himself entered into the inmost recess of every extended conglomerate. Virad Vigraha. At that time, those jivas who had lain dormant during the cataclysm were awakened. Sanityo nitya bandhanha prakritis cha paraivasa. The same jiva is eternal and is for eternity, and without beginning, joined to the Supreme Lord by the tie of an eternal kinship. He is transcendental spiritual potency. Evam sarvatma sambandham nabhyam padmam harer abut tatra brahma bhavad bhuyash chatur vedi chatur mukaha. The divine lotus which springs from the navel pit of Vishnu is in every way related by the spiritual tie with all souls and is the origin of four-faced Brahma versed in the four Vedas. Sanjato Bhagavach Chakya Tatkala. Sanjato Bhagavach Chakya Tatkalam Kila Choditaha Sisrikshayam Matim Chakre Purva Samskara Samskritaha Tadasha Kevaram Dvantam Nanyat Kimmapi Sarvataha. On coming out of the lotus, Brahma, being guided by the divine potency, turned his mind to the act of creation under the impulse of previous impressions, but he could see nothing but darkness in every direction. Uvacha tasmai tasya divya sarasvati Kama Krishnaya Govinda Ego Bijana It Yapi Valhabaya Priya Vader Mantram Te Dasyati Priyam. Then the goddess of learning, Saraswati, the divine consort of the Supreme Lord, said thus to Brahma, who saw nothing but gloom in all directions. O Brahma, this mantra, Krim Krishnaya Govindaya Gopijana Vallabhaya Svaha, will assuredly fulfill your heart's desire. Tapasvam tapa etena tava siddhir bhavishyati. O Brahma, do thou practice spiritual association by means of this mantra, then all your desires will be fulfilled. Atate pesa suchiram prenam govindamavyayam shveta dvipa patim krishnam golokastam parat param. Prakritya guna rupinya paryupasitam sahasratara sampane Koti kinjalka brimhite Vamishchintam manistatra karnikare mahasane. Samasinam Chirannandam Jyoti Rupam Sanatanam Shabda Brahma Mayam Venum Varayantam Mukham Bhuje Virasini Ganavritam Svayar Amshar Abhishtutam. Brahma, being desirous of satisfying Govinda, practiced the cultural acts for Krishna in Goloka, Lord of Shvetadvip, for a long time. His meditation ran thus: there exists a divine lotus of 1,000 petals, augmented by millions of filaments, in the transcendental land of Goloka. On its whirl, there exists a great divine throne on which is seated Sri Krishna, the form of eternal effulgence of transcendental bliss, playing on his divine flute, resonant with the divine sound, with his lotus mouth. He is worshipped by his amorous milkmaids with their respective subjective portions and extensions, and also by his external energy, who stays outside, embodying all mundane qualities. Ata venu vinadasya trayi murti mayi gatahi sporanti pravijeshashu mukham jani svayam bhuvaha gayatrim gayatastasmad adigatya sarojaha samskritashari guruna dvijatam agamat tataha. Then Gayatri, mother of the Vedas, being made manifest, imparted by the divine sound of the flute of Sri Krishna, entered into the lotus mouth of Brahma, born from himself through his 8 ear holes. The lotus-born Brahma, having received the Gayatri, sprung from the flute song of Sri Krishna, attained the status of the twice-born, having been initiated by the supreme primal preceptor, Godhead himself. Traya prabhudhota vidhir vigyata tattvasagaraha tushtava veda sarena shrotena nena keshavam. Enlightened by the recollection of that Gayatri, embodying the 3 Vedas, Brahma became acquainted with the expanse of the ocean of truth. Then he worshipped Sri Krishna, the essence of all the Vedas, with this hymn. Chintamani prakarasatma sukalpa vriksha laksha vriteshu surabhira vipalayantam lakshmi sahasra shata sambrama sevyamanam govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, the first progenitor who is tending the cows, yielding all desire, in abodes built with spiritual gems, surrounded by millions of purpose trees, always served with great reverence and affection by hundreds of thousands of Lakshmis, or gopis. Venum kvanvantamaravinda dalaya taksham barhavatam samasitam buddha sundarangam kandarpakoti kamadiya vishesha shobham govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who is adept in playing on his flute, with blooming eyes like lotus petals, with head bedecked with peacock's feather, with the figure of beauty tinged with the hue of blue clouds, and his unique loveliness charming millions of cupids. Alola Chanjara Kalasarvara Malya Vamshi Ratnan Gadambranaya Kedi Kalavilasam Shamam Shri Galaritam Niyata Prakasham Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, round whose neck is swinging a garland of flowers, beautified with the moon locket, whose 2 hands are adorned with the flute and jeweled ornaments, revels in pastimes of love, whose graceful 3-fold bending form of Shama Sundara is eternally manifest. Angani yasya sakalendriya vriti manti pashyanti panti kalayanti chiram jaganti ananda chinmaya sarujvala vigrahasya govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, whose transcendental form is full of bliss, truth, substantiality, and is thus full of the most dazzling splendor. Each of the limbs of that transcendental figure possesses in himself the full-fledged functions of all the organs, and eternally sees, maintains, and manifests the infinite universes, both spiritual and mundane. Advaitam achyutam anadim anantarupam Adyam purana purusham navayovanam cha Vedeshu durlabam adurlamam atma bhakta Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who is inaccessible to the Vedas, but obtainable by pure, unalloyed devotion of the soul, who is without a second, who is not subject to decay, is without a beginning, whose form is endless, who is the beginning and the eternal Purusha, yet he is a person possessing the beauty of blooming youth. Pantastu koti shatavatsada sambragam yo Vayoratapi maraso muri pungavanam Sopyasti yat brabadasinya vachintya tatve Govindamari purusham tamaham bhajami. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, only the tip of the toe of whose lotus feet is approached by the yogis who aspire after the transcendental and betake themselves through pranayam by drilling the respiration, or by the gyanis who try to find out the non-differentiated Brahman by the process of elimination of the mundane, extending over thousands of millions of years. Ekopyasaura chahitum jagaranda kotim yachtaktirasti jagaranda chayayarantaha antantarasta paramanu jayantarastam govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. He is an undifferentiated entity, as there is no distinction between potency and the possessor thereof. In his work of creation of millions of worlds, his potency remains inseparable. All the universes exist in him, and he is present in his fullness in every one of the atoms that are scattered throughout the universe at one and the same time. Such is the primeval Lord whom I adore. Yadbhava bhavita diyo marujasta taiva samprapyo rupa mahimasanayana bhushaha suktaryam eva nigaba pratitai stuvanti govindamari purusham tamaham bhajami. I adore the same Govinda, the primeval Lord, in whose praise men who are imbued with devotion sing the mantra Shuktas told by the Vedas, by gaining their appropriate beauty, greatness, thrones, conveyances, and ornaments. Ananda Chinmaya Rasa Pratibhavita Stabirya Eva Nijarupa Tayaka Lavihi Goloka Eva Nivasati Yakilatma Bhuto Govindamari Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, residing in his own realm, Goloka, with Radhika, resembling his own spiritual figure, the embodiment of the ecstatic potency possessed of these 64 artistic activities, in the company of her confidants, Sakhis, embodiments of the extensions of her bodily form, permeated and vitalized by his ever blissful spiritual rasa. Premanjana churita bhakti vilochanena santa sadaiva hridayeshu vilokayanti yam shama sundaram achintya gunasvarupam govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who is Shama Sundara, Krishna himself, with inconceivable, innumerable attributes. whom the pure devotees see in their heart of hearts with the eye of devotion tinged with the salve of love. Ramadi Murti Shukalani Amena Tishtan Nanavatara Makarora Bhuvane Shukintu Krishna Svayam Samabhavat Paramapu Manyo Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who manifested himself personally as Krishna and the different avatars in the world in the forms of Rama, Nrsimha, Vamana, etc., as his subjective portions. Yasya Prabha Prabhavato Jagaranda Koti Shvashesha Vasudari Vibhuti Vinam Tad Brahma Nishkalam Anantam Ashesha Bhutam Govindamari Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, whose effulgence is the source of the non-differentiated Brahman, mentioned in the Upanishads, being differentiated from the infinity of glories of the mundane universe, appears as the indivisible, infinite, limitless truth. Maya Aham Bhaja. Potency fold mundane qualities, sattva, rajas, and tamas, fuses the Vedic knowledge regarding the mundane world. Ananda Chinmayada Satmataya Badasu Ya Praninam Pratipalan Smaratam Upetiya Lila Yatena Bhuvana Jayat Yajasram Govinda Mari Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, whose glory ever triumphantly dominates the mundane world by the activity of his own pastimes, being reflected in the mind of recollecting souls as the transcendental entity of ever blissful cognitive rasa. Golokandam nijadam nitale chatasya Devi Mahesha Haridama Suteshu Teshu Tete Prabhava Nichaya Vihitascha Yena Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Lowest of all is located Devi Dham, the mundane world. Next above it is Mahesh Dham, abode of Mahesha. Above Mahesha Dham placed Haridam, abode of Hari, and above them all is located Krishna's own realm named Goloka. I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, who has allotted their respective authorities to the rulers of those realms. Srishti Sthiti Palaya Sadhana Shakti Reka Jayeva Yasya Pavanani Viparti Durga Ichchanurupam Api Yasya Jateshtate Sa Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. The external potency, Maya, who is of the nature of the shadow of the Chit potency, is worshipped by all people as Durga, the creating, preserving, and destroying agency of this mundane world. I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, in accordance with whose will Durga conducts herself. Shiram yata derivikara vishesha yogat sanjayate nahitata pritagasti hetoho yashambutam apitata samupaiti karyad govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. Just as milk is transformed into curd by the action of acids, but yet the effect curd is neither same as nor different from its cause, milk, so I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, of whom the state of Shambhu is a transformation for the performance of the work of destruction. Yakara Narnava Jaleba Jatisma Yoga Nidram Mananta Jagaranda Saroma Kupaha Adhara Shakti Mavalambya Param Swamurtim Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. I adore the I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, from whom the separated subjective portion, Brahma, receives his power for the regulation of the mundane world, just as the sun manifests some portion of his own light in all the effulgent gems that bear the names Suryakanta, etc. Yatpadapalava-yugam videdhaya kumbha Dvandve pranama samaye saganadi rajaha Vignan vihantum madam asya jagatrayasya Govindamari purusham tamaham bhajami. I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, whose lotus feet are always held by Ganesh upon the pair of tumuli protruding from his elephant head, in order to obtain power for his function of destroying all the obstacles on the path of progress of the three worlds. Agnir Mahiga Garamambu Marudishasha Kalastatatma Manasiti Jagatrayani Yasmad Bhavanti Vibhavanti Vishanti Yamcha Govindamari Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. The three worlds are composed of the 9 elements: fire, earth, ether, water, air, direction, time, soul, and mind. I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, from whom they originate, in whom they exist, and into whom they enter at the time of the universal cataclysm. Yashchaksharesha savita sakalagrahanam Raja samasta suramurtir ashesha tejaha Yagyaya brahmiti sambritakara chakro Govindamari purusham tamaham bhajami. The sun, who is the king of all the planets, full of infinite effulgence, the image of the good soul, is as the eye of this world. I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, in pursuance of whose order the sun performs his journey, mounting the wheel of time. Dharmo tapapa nichaya shrutayastapamsi brahmari Gita patagava dayasya jivaha yaddata matrivabhava prakata prabhava govindamari purusham tamaham bhajami. I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, by whose conferred power are maintained the manifested potencies that are found to exist of all virtues, all vices, the Vedas, the penances, and all jivas, from Brahma to the meanest insect. Yasvrindra Gopa Matavendra Mahosvakarma Bandhanurupa Parapajanam Apanoti Karmani Dirdat Hatikintu Shabakti Bhajam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, who burns up to their roots all the fruitive activities of those who are imbued with devotion, and impartially ordains for each the due enjoyment of the fruits of one's activities. All those who walk in the path of work in accordance with the chain of their previously performed works, no less in the case of the tiny insect that bears the name Indragopa than in that of Indra, the king of the Deva. Yam Krodha Pranayadi Bi Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, the meditators of whom, by meditating upon him under the sway of wrath, amorous passion, natural friendly love, fear, parental affection, delusion, reverence, and willing service, attain to bodily forms befitting the nature of their contemplation. We are approaching 8 o'clock. I think maybe I should stop here. I could go on reading some translations. There's not much left to finish the entire Brahma Samhita. I am the remaining verses, Brahma Samhita, chapter 5, text 56 through text 62 are texts which I have not recited very much. I am not very expert in them as yet. I'm working on it, but I would be happy to read the translations if somebody wanted me to continue. Otherwise, I'll stop here. Hare
Please
Krishna.
continue, Prabhu. That is nectar. It's just, you're just pouring it on us this morning. Please continue.
Okay, the translation then of text 56. I worship that transcendental seat known as Shvetadvip, where, as loving consorts, the Lakshmis, in their unalloyed spiritual essence, practice the amorous service of the Supreme Lord Krishna as their only lover, where every tree is a transcendental purpose tree, where the soil is the purpose gem, all water is nectar, every word is a song, every gate is a dance, the flute is the favorite attendant, effulgence is full of transcendental bliss, and the supreme spiritual entities are all enjoyable and tasty, where numberless milk cows always emit transcendental oceans of milk, where there is eternal existence of transcendental time, who is ever present and without past or future, and hence is not subject to the quality of passing away, even for the space of half a moment. That realm is known as Goloka only to a very few self-realized souls in this world. On hearing these hymns containing the essence of the truth, the Supreme Lord Krishna said to Brahma, Brahma, if you experience the inclination to create offspring by being endowed with the real knowledge of the glory of Godhead, listen, my beloved, from me to this science set forth in the following 5 shlokas. When the pure spiritual experience is excited by means of cognition and service, super excellent, unalloyed devotion characterized by love for Godhead is awakened toward Krishna, the beloved of all souls. The highest devotion is attained by slow degrees, by the method of constant endeavor for self-realization, with the help of scriptural evidence, theistic conduct, and perseverance in practice. These preliminary practices of devotion, sadhana bhakti, are conducive to the realization of loving devotion, than whom there is no superior well-being, who goes hand in hand with the attainment of the exclusive state of supreme bliss, and who can lead to myself. Abandoning all meritorious performances, serve me with faith. The realization will correspond to the nature of one's faith. The people of the world act ceaselessly in pursuance of some ideal. By meditating on me by means of those deeds, one will obtain devotion characterized by love in the shape of the supreme service. Listen, O Vidhi, I am the seed, the fundamental principle of this world of animate and inanimate objects. I am Pradhan, the substance of matter. I am Prakriti, material cause, and I am Purusha, efficient cause. This fiery energy that belongs specially to the Brahman that inheres in you has also been conferred by me. It is by bearing this fiery energy that you regulate this phenomenal world of animate and inanimate objects. And that concludes chapter 5 of Sri Brahma Samhita. Hare Krishna. Thank you for putting up with me.
Prabhu, there's no question of putting up with you. We are truly blessed on this, I guess, 8th day of Kartik, or 7th official day after, or 8 days after Sharda Purnima. Thank you, Prabhu. I truly feel inspired. I think this is the way to start a week, to actually hear about just the creative potency of the Lord. And as you were reading, I was just thinking that, uh, yes, I think when Krishna says, he tells Muchokonda that he himself cannot count his own glories, like he can't keep up with it. In other words, just by hearing this account, I think, yeah, I can understand what Krishna is saying because, yeah, Krishna's creative potency is just incredible. The intricacies, the level of detail, the precision, the majesty, the grandeur, and the volume, just the sheer vastness of Krishna's creative potency. Yeah, it's very incredible. So thank you, Prabhu, for giving us a blessed start to the second week of Kartik.